as soon as vaccine is produced, it's being put in refrigerator. So it has to be at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade in that regime. And then from then on, we maintain that temperature. So the vaccine is kept constantly at that temperature. So for example, if the vaccine is being transported from the manufacturing facility to a storage facility somewhere, when it's being flown from one country to another, all the way through, it has to be refrigerated and it has to maintain the same temperature. If there is a problem with the temperature, if, for example, that fridge breaks down, or if we don't have electricity for some time, then obviously we see the temperature fluctuations, and this is what affects the vaccines. And this is when we get vaccines spoiling, unfortunately.
Is your method of thermal stabilization compatible with the current COVID-19 vaccines?
This is a very good question we're trying to answer at the moment. We don't know yet. That would be the short answer to your question. But we are trying to find out as quickly as possible, because obviously there is an urgency to answer this question. We think that more traditional vaccines, so for example, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, might be more compatible. So majority of the traditional vaccines have to be kept at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. The Oxford AstraZeneca COVID vaccine also needs to be refrigerated, needs to be kept at those temperatures. But what we know from Pfizer and from Moderna is that those two vaccines need to be kept at even lower temperatures. So for example, Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine needs to be kept at -70 centigrade. Moderna needs -20 centigrade. These are the kind of temperatures which are hard to maintain all the way through in order to inoculate people, especially very hard in developing countries. So for example, I have recently been in contact with one country where they were saying that there is absolutely no equipment to maintain -70 centigrade. So they're really scratching their heads at how they're going to be inoculating people in the future if they were to receive Pfizer COVID vaccine through COVAX.
So which country was that?
This is the country where I was born, Kyrgyzstan. It's in Central Asia, and they obviously have an agreement with COVAX to receive the vaccines, and they already have been in talks about getting this vaccine. But at the moment, they're really struggling to find money to buy the freezers to maintain the -70 centigrade. But I'm hoping that will happen soon.
Well, so do we. But does that apply to many other countries as well?
Absolutely. In many other countries, you may have the, for example, if you have the equipment, you may not have constant supply of electricity, so that's another problem. Also, you need to have the infrastructure to be able to send around those refrigerators on the trucks. So you need to have roads working, and also you need to have staff trained who actually can do and maintain all of those temperatures properly. So it's quite a big logistical undertaking to inoculate people within a specific country.
Do those logistical challenges apply to potentially not getting a second jab after the first?
This is a very contentious question at the moment. So obviously you've seen that in UK, the government has said that they will be giving majority of the population the first jab, and they will delay the second jab for up to 3 months or maybe more in some places, depending on how many vaccines we will have. This is a question which a lot of us are still trying to get our head around, because obviously all the data we have is for the 21-day delay for the second jab. We don't have any data for longer periods, so we don't know what's going to happen after this. At the moment, the assumption is that the immunity will continue, and then with the second jab, it will still work the same way. And this is what obviously we're hoping for, but we don't know. That's the problem.
And how can you tell, or how could a country, or how do medical staff tell if a vaccine has in fact spoiled during transportation?
With some of the vaccines, for example, DTP vaccine, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis vaccine, we actually could tell from just looking at it, because in a lot of the times it would spoil. When it would spoil, it would also change its appearance, so we could actually see it. Unfortunately, that's not the case for all of them. So with some of the other vaccines, they can spoil without showing any physical change in their appearance. I don't want to scare anybody here, because I still want people to be vaccinated. And even with decreased efficacy, it's still better to have some protection than not to have any. It should not deter people from vaccination. This is the main thing.
Dr. Asel Sartbaeva, thank you so much for joining us on The Agenda.
Thank you.